Grade 9 Science. Chapter 3. Tissues in Action.
Every human life begins with a single cell, carrying all the instructions needed to build an entire body. Through countless rounds of cell division, one cell becomes millions, forming the foundation of a new living organism. Takes on a special role, creating tissues and organs in one of nature's greatest engineering marvels. The cell is the basic unit of life. In multicellular organisms, similar cells work together to form tissues. Different tissues combine to build organs, each designed to perform a specific function, and all systems together create a complete living organism.
Introduction and levels of organization. How life begins. Life begins when a single cell divides itself again and again to give rise to a large number of cells. These cells gradually form the skin, protection, muscles, movement, bones, support, nerves, control and coordination, and all other organs. This process is so intricate that it is considered one of nature's greatest engineering marvels. Start with a simple picture. One cell becomes billions, and each group takes up a special job. Explanation. Every living body begins as one single cell. That cell divides again and again to make a huge number of cells. Instead of staying the same, these cells slowly form different parts: the skin, for protection, muscles, for movement, bones, for support, and nerves, for control and coordination, and all other organs. This buildup is so exact and well-planned that scientists call it one of nature's greatest engineering marvels. Why scientists study this? Researchers have long tried to understand, replicate, and modify this process for human welfare. To do this, we must understand the natural biological processes that govern growth and development in plants and animals. Two big questions guide the chapter. What makes cells group together to form tissues? Why do some tissues grow throughout life while others do not? Explanation. Scientists want to understand, copy, and even modify this growth process to help people, for example, in medicine and farming. But to do that, they must first learn the natural processes that control growth and development in plants and animals. This raises two key questions the chapter answers. What makes cells group into tissues? And why do some tissues keep growing for life while others stop? Think it over questions. Keep these three guiding questions in mind through the whole chapter. How is the study of cells and tissues significant for understanding life processes and human welfare? How are tissues in plants and animals different from you in working? Let's still remember by the study of this Christminton sense with Hume in development. What looks from beating for those levels of organization in multicellular organisms correlated with their structure and function? Explanation. The Think It Over box sets up the whole chapter with three questions. 1. Why studying cells and tissues helps us understand life processes and human welfare. 2. How plant and animal tissues are different and why. And 3. How the division of labor at each level of organization is linked to structure and function. Keep them in mind and answer them again at the end. The hierarchy of organization. Recall from Chapter 2 that the cell is the basic unit of life. In all multicellular organisms, there is a hierarchy of organization: cells, tissue, organs, organ systems, organism. Cells of similar type performing similar function group together to form a tissue. More than one type of tissue forms organs. Different organs form organ systems, and organ systems form an organism. Explanation. In multicellular organisms, life is organized in levels, each built from the one below: cells, tissue, organs, organ systems, organism. Similar cells doing the same job join to form a tissue. Different tissues form an organ. Organs form an organ system, and systems together make the whole organism. A useful picture. Cells are bricks, tissues are walls, organs are rooms, systems are floors, and the organism is the full building. Unicellular versus multicellular definition of tissue. In unicellular organisms such as amoeba, a single cell performs all life functions. In multicellular organisms like plants and animals, different groups of cells perform different functions. A tissue is a group of cells, similar in structure, that work together to perform a specific function. Explanation. In a unicellular organism like amoeba, one cell carries out all life functions on its own. In multicellular organisms like plants and animals, different groups of cells take up different functions. This gives the chapter's definition. A tissue is a group of cells that are similar in structure and work together to do a specific job. Division of labor. The formation of different types of tissues leads to division of labor, which increases the efficiency of the body and lets it carry out complex life processes. Examples: animals. Muscle tissue enables movement. Nervous tissue carries messages. In plants, xylem transports water and minerals. Phloem transports food. Explanation. Because different tissues do different jobs, the work of the body is shared out. This is called division of labor. It makes the body more efficient and able to carry out complex life processes. Textbook examples. In animals, muscle tissue brings movement and nervous tissue carries messages. In plants, xylem carries water and minerals, while phloem carries food. Why plant and animal tissues differ. Movement and the cell wall. Most plants are fixed in one place and need support to stay firm and upright, so plant cells have a cell wall that gives rigidity and strength. Animals generally move, though some, like sponges, are immobile. Without a rigid cell wall, animal cells can change shape easily, and this flexibility helps make their bodies suitable for locomotion. Explanation. Most plants are fixed in one spot and must stay firm and upright, so their cells have a strong cell wall for rigidity and support. Most animals move about, though a few, like sponges, stay fixed. Animal cells have no rigid cell wall, so they can change shape easily, and this flexibility is what makes their bodies suitable for locomotion, movement. Different modes of nutrition. Another major difference is the mode of nutrition. Animals have tissues that help them digest food obtained from other sources. Plants have tissues that help them use solar energy to synthesize food through photosynthesis. Explanation. Another big difference is how they get food, mode of nutrition. Animals have tissues that help them digest food taken from outside. Plants have tissues that trap solar energy and make their own food by photosynthesis. Because their food habits differ, their tissues differ too. Transport and growth patterns. Plants and animals have distinct tissues for transporting food and water. Their growth patterns also differ because the tissues responsible for growth differ in structure and function. This chapter explores how the structure of plant and animal tissues relates to their functions. Explanation. Plants and animals also have different transport tissues for moving food and water, and different growth patterns because the tissues responsible for growth are built differently. The whole chapter's theme is this: the structure of a tissue always matches the function it performs.